All right, let's talk about one of the most genuinely chilling stories ever written about the horror of the wilderness. We're diving deep into Algernon Blackwood's masterpiece, The Wendigo. So let's start with this quote. This is a warning, right? From a man who knows the woods better than anyone, knows the kind of fear they can hold. This really sets the stage for everything that's about to happen. So come on, let's step into that wilderness with him and see what's waiting for us. Okay, so our story kicks off in this huge, just empty Canadian wilderness. We're way up north of a place called Rat Portage. Now, it's what they call a shy moose year, which means this hunting party has been out for a week and found nothing. And you can just feel that oppressive weight, right? The silence out there, it's not just quiet. The story describes it as a presence, this vast, listening forest that's starting to close in on them. So who do we have in this group? Well, it's a small crew, and every single one of them is about to be tested in ways they can't even imagine. You've got Dr. Cathcart, he's the man of science, the skeptic. Then there's his nephew, Simpson, a divinity student. This is his first time in the deep woods. Hank Davis is the lead guide, your classic no-nonsense, practical guy. And then you have Joseph DeFago. He's this French-Canadian guide, the best in the business, but he's also described as imaginative and melancholy. This guy is deeply, maybe even dangerously, connected to the wilderness. It's not just a place for him, it feels like it's a part of his soul. So they're getting frustrated, right? No moose. So they come up with a plan. Let's split up. Hank, being the practical guy, says he and Dr. Cathcart will head west. And that leaves the young guy, Simpson, and the expert, DeFago, to go even deeper to a really isolated spot called 50 Island Water. On paper, it sounds like a solid plan to cover more ground. But here's where things get weird. The reaction to this perfectly logical plan is what's so unsettling. DeFago doesn't just say no. He doesn't argue. For just a second, this look flashes across his face. And Dr. Cathcart, the observer, he sees it for what it is. It's not annoyance. It's a flash of pure, soul-deep terror. A fear so real and so profound that it just sends a chill through the whole camp. Something is very, very wrong. So now we're with DeFago and Simpson. They've made camp at this place, 50 Island Water, the very place DeFago is so terrified of. And you can feel it, right? The spirit of the wilderness just pressing in. It's beautiful, sure, but underneath all that beauty is this cold, hard truth. This place does not care about you. It's completely indifferent to whether you live or die. And then it happens. The whole atmosphere just shatters. One second, DeFago is singing one of his sad old songs. The next, his voice just cuts out, mid-note. He's on his feet in a flash, sniffing the air like a wild animal. I mean, literally drawing the wind into his nose in these short, sharp breaths, turning his head every which way. And his face, in that firelight, it goes this horrible, deathly white. He turns to Simpson, and his voice is just this low, tight whisper. You don't smell nothing, do you? He's practically begging Simpson to say no, to tell him he's crazy, because DeFago has smelled something faint, totally unknown, and it has terrified him to his core. But Simpson, he just smells the campfire. He has no idea why his guide looks like he's just seen a ghost. And that's when he finally gives a name to his fear. He starts talking about the Wendigo. It's a backwoods legend, right? The kind of story you only tell when you're in a place like this, when you're really, truly scared. He says it's this huge animal from up north. It's as fast as lightning, bigger than anything else out there. And it ain't supposed to be very good to look at. It's the ultimate boogeyman of the deep woods. Later that night, the thing that was lurking out there finally makes its move. But here's the twist. It doesn't come from the trees. It comes from the sky. The first sign that something is about to go horribly wrong is just so human. Simpson wakes up because he hears someone crying. It's DeFago. He's sobbing in his sleep like his heart is breaking, trying to muffle the sound with his blankets. Just think about that sound, a grown man weeping like that, out here in the middle of nowhere. And then it comes. The silence is just ripped apart by the sound from directly overhead. Simpson calls it a soft, roaring voice. Think about that contradiction. It's huge, immense volume, but at the same time, it's sweet, seductive even. It's a sound that shouldn't exist, and it's right on top of them. And it calls out a name. 3 distinct notes. DeFago!
It knows who it wants. It's calling for him personally.
Defago just explodes out of his sleeping bag. He's on his feet and he lets out this cry. But it's not just terror. It's terror mixed with this bizarre, ecstatic delight. And he screams, "My feet of fire! My burning feet of fire!" and just bolts out of the tent into the darkness. He's just snatched away, his voice trailing off as he's carried into the sky at this insane speed.
And just like that, silence. The whole thing, start to finish, maybe took 2 seconds. Simpson is left alone in that tent, completely stunned. And there's a new smell in the air. That same smell Defago noticed earlier, but now it's strong, pungent, something like lions. So when the sun comes up, a totally terrified Simpson starts searching. He's screaming Defago's name, but the only thing that answers is the echo from the silent forest. And it's when he finds the tracks in the snow that the real mind-bending horror of what happened starts to sink in. This is what he finds, and it's the core of the horror. There are 2 sets of tracks: Defago's trail, normal human footprints, and beside them, something else. The tracks of this other thing are huge, round, and the stride, get this, is 18 feet long. Just try to picture that. But here's the absolute kicker. As the trail goes on, Defago's own footprints start to change. His stride gets longer and longer until it's a perfect, smaller copy of the giant tracks next to his. He's not just being chased, he's becoming it. He follows this impossible trail for a few miles, and then it just stops. Not fades out, it stops cold. In the middle of a clearing, both sets of tracks are just gone. And ahead of him, nothing but perfect, untouched snow. It's as if they were just yanked straight up into the air. And as he's standing there, just trying to process what he's seeing, he hears it again, that same cry. It's Defago's voice, thin and wailing with pure anguish, dropping down on him from the huge, empty sky. "Oh, my feet of fire!" It's the sound of a man who is lost in a way we can't even begin to comprehend. So, what are we to make of all this? This story is so much more than just a spooky campfire tale. It's a really profound look at the psychological power of the wilderness and how thin that line is between our world and something else, something much, much older. You see, what Blackwood does so brilliantly is blur the lines. Is the Wendigo a real physical monster out there in the woods, or is it something more psychological? Is it what the story calls the enticement of the desolation, this terrifying, seductive call that the great, empty wilderness whispers to certain people like Defago? The truly chilling part is that the story suggests maybe there's no difference. Maybe they're the exact same thing. And that's really the question the story leaves you with, isn't it? It just hangs there in the air. It's this final, haunting thought that really gets under your skin. What happens when the wilderness isn't just a place, but a presence that knows your name and calls for you from the empty sky?